Yes, I'm a geek in all my glory. All right, so we've covered pleasure, intensification. We've kind of laid the groundwork, no pun intended. We've used the gray room. We've practiced magic frame, right? We're going to take a little bit of a segue off of the identity by design silo or the personal transformation silo. We're going to go into neurosomatic energetic repatterning. Or we could say applied neurosomatic energetic repatterning. Right? AKA, as it's known in my convention circles as spinning. Cynthia, kommen Sie up here. Cool. So, I'm going to ask you a question. Is there something you'd like to get rid of or something you'd like to have more of?
Oh, that's a good question that way. How about something more of? Because I would have said something to get rid of, but I've got some techniques for that.
Okay. So there's something you want more of?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it a pleasurable thing? All right. Now, no matter how intense it gets, your feet will remain strong beneath you. Sometimes when, depending on what they ask for, they get a little weak in the knees.
Yeah, and he did that.
Right? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to close your eyes. Actually, I want you to remember that thing, think about that thing that you want more of. I want you to notice that there's a feeling connected to that thing you want. I want you to notice where in your body that feeling lives. Point to it. Good. As you look at it with your inner eyes, I want you to notice that there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color, first impression?
Orange.
Good. I want you to reach into that spot with both your hands. Grab all that orange energy, take it out and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides. Nice. Now, is it all there?
Mm-hmm.
Did the color change or stay the same?
Kind of bad.
Okay, cool. Now, I want you to grab it with both of your hands. Now, since this is something you want more of, I want you to notice it's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? Good. Physically grab it and double the spin. Double the speed. Double the force, double the amplitude, double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again. Keep doubling it until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Whoosh. Notice the change. Notice it spreading all throughout your mind, all throughout your body, growing stronger and stronger with every breath. Notice how good it feels. Only stronger. Only stronger. That's right. Stronger and stronger. Better and better. 10 times better now. Every breath you take, every beat of your heart, it just gets more and more intense and will only continue to get stronger and stronger. Noticing how good you feel. That's right. Take it to its ultimate extreme. That's right. Notice how good that is. There you go. Pure. Stronger. Stronger. That's right. Let it come up. That's right. From now on, only this stronger, even stronger. Every time you go into it, even better than the time before. That's right. And when you know you've got it, when you've got it to the point that you want it, just allow your eyes to open. Notice how good that feels.
You know, what's interesting is it pushed out something I didn't want, which is really awesome. I mean, it didn't completely push it out, but that's cool.
Give her a big round of applause. So the process is actually very simple. It's based on this concept we talked about earlier called somatic address. Everything that we have, cognitively, emotionally, intellectually, has a correlation, a correlate, an address somewhere in the physical body. When we access these things through the body, and we access the body's code for that process, we gain power over the process. Like for instance, that orange color that's spinning, double the spin, notice what happens. Till it blows out everything. Pretty cool, huh? Everything in the body can be zapped this way. Everything. So what do? Whether it's a good feeling or a bad feeling, the first thing you want to do, point to where you feel it. Second part. Close your eyes, look at it with your inner eyes. Internally. So in other words, let me use you. Come on up here. So there's something you want more of or something you want to get rid of?
Get rid of.
Okay, cool. Point to it. Now there's a thing. All right there. Close your eyes. Notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color, first impression?
Green.
Reach in, grab all that green energy, take it out, and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides. See, I told you. Now, is it all in your hands?
Yes.
Okay, did the color change or stay the same, first impression?
Still the same.
Good. As you look at it, I want you to notice it's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning?
Spinning forward.
Cool. Since it's something you want less of, I want you to physically grab it with both of your hands and turn it so it's the opposite of what it was. Now double the spin, double the speed, double the force, double the amplitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Notice the change. Notice it's gone. Let the feelings come up, let them come out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the fuck? He's got that what the fuck look on his face, right? Try to bring it back. All right? Remember that any feeling we have in the body, in order for the body to maintain the experience, it has to keep recycling it. Right? That recycling process has a structure. It has a language that the body understands. Law of yin and yang, which is Chinese medicine, tells us that the body, that yin and yang cannot exist without the other. So if we create a feeling in our body that issues pain or discomfort, then by definition we must also have a default code or direction that signals its opposite. It's yin and yang polarity. Does that make sense? Okay? So the moment I elicit how the body does one, I automatically know how to do the opposite. It's his internal code. The body does not resist itself. So because I use his code, actually he uses his code, I guide him through the process. Right? He doesn't resist it. It's native to his environment, and it gives him the opposite experience. And what happens is it backward generalizes. So it literally starts from like its point of most recent manifestation and flies backwards. So many times when you get this, you'll feel, just like with the gray room or whatever, you'll feel this emotional purging kind of come up. Sometimes they break out in a sweat. Sometimes they have orgasms. It really depends on the direction. Right? But the more they spin it, the more they physically, notice all the elements we talked about, somatic bridge, getting the body involved, right? That's the magic. Those are the two key elements that, because a lot of other, like Richard teaches how to spin and things like that. Other people do a little bit with spinning, but nobody incorporates external and internal, all the ways that we're doing it here. And when you do that, you really literally light the brain and neurology up like a Christmas tree. Every part of the brain is active, inside and outside. very, very different experience than just doing this shit inside your head. Right? Better still?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It'll just keep generalizing that way. Give him a big round of applause.
So when you did spin it, you threw it in there. Is when you feel there, I feel like that's you weren't sure where you were then. Like,
It's cracked sternum.
oh,
And yeah, for the last month and a half, if I do this, nice and sore. But right now, no.
Give a big round of applause.
yay!
It's a kind of magic. Okay? Like I said, you guys haven't tapped in to 1/10 of the potential that your nervous system is capable of. Right? That technique was literally downloaded to me 8 years ago, and I had no idea what I'd gotten because I used it once or twice for migraines and back pain, but I hadn't played with it. And then all of a sudden, in the last 2 or 3 years, starting with the China trip, when I went out to work with my sixth aunt on my wife's side, that's when I brought this thing out of mothballs. And it's been just, there hasn't been a damn thing I've thrown it at that hasn't worked.
Now for migraine, how would you work that for migraine?
Point to where you feel it. It all starts with somatic address. Right?
So the nervous system is connected to your subconscious somehow?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Where it lives.
It's the physical component. It's the conduit through which your unconscious flows. Remember something, whether you believe in energy as a construct or a metaphor or an actual physical phenomena, the energy we're talking about is highly organized. It carries information. In order for that information to affect the body, in order for energy to affect the body, there has to be a common medium of communication. There has to be something that allows the nervous system to take the information in the energy and utilize it and express it. That means it has to have a language or a code or a structure. If it has a language or a code or a structure, that structure can be rewritten. It can be reinterpreted. Information can be added, modified, or deleted. Right? So when I talk about energetics or vibrational influence, I'm not talking about this glowing cloud of energy that floats around us called an aura. I'm thinking like a very, very highly organized XYZ grid in 3 dimensions around, or multiple dimensions around us, where things spatially have different meanings. And the way we categorize and express meanings is through that spatial orientation. Right? The language of the nervous system is not lingual in the sense of words. It's visuals, auditory, kinesthetics, olfactories, gustatories, time and space. And it's mediated through your proprioception and your mirror neurons. And it's pre-conscious. Which means by the time you become conscious of it, you've already done it. It's too late. Your conscious mind is the least informed and the last to know. Always. But it's the part that screams the loudest, so we pay the most attention to it. Does that make sense? So the basic skeleton of this process is, if there's something you want to change, point to it. Physically point to it. Sometimes, depending on if I think they need more parts of their system online, I'll actually have them physically look at it. And then I'll have them close their eyes and look at it with their inner eyes. Notice that there's a color associated or connected to that feeling. What's the color? First impression. Always go with your first impressions, regardless of how ridiculous it may be. Right? As they find the color, I want you to reach in with both of your hands, somatic bridge, vivification. Reach in, grab all that energy, take it out and hold it in your hands. First impression, did the color change or stay the same? Whether it changes or it doesn't, perfect. As you look at it, notice it's spinning in a certain direction. What's the direction? First impression. Right? Now, if it's something they want more of, that means that direction is generating something that's desirable. Physically grab it with both of your hands. Double the spin. Double the amplitude. double the force, double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own. When you know and until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was, if it's something you want to get rid of, right? When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Notice the change. Notice it's gone. Couple of key phrases. Notice the change. Notice it's gone. Or if it's something you want more of, notice the change. Notice it only gets better. And better and better and better. Okay? You guys ready to play with this? Right. The secret here is maximizing neurological absorption in the experience. So the more parts of their awareness you call to it, the more you make them go into it and pull out data, the more parts of the brain you're going to activate. So if they reach in and they grab that color, and you want to make sure that they're really, really locked into that, you say, well, what's the color, first impression? Did it change or stay the same? Okay, they have to actually go into it to give you that, to answer that question. You might want to say, well, smell it. What does it smell like? First impression. What does it taste like? First impression. Right? Is it hot or cold? First impression. The more information about this representation that you call for, the deeper the neurological absorption. Normally, I don't need to go beyond just the color and the direction. Right? The direction is important because direction is telling us, are we moving towards pleasure or towards pain? Right? What are we manifesting? It doesn't have to be. Those are the extremes. There's all kinds of subtleties to this you can play with. But the basic skill set is point to where you feel it, look at it, inner eyes, outer eyes, notice the color, take it all out. You also hear me say every time I do this, say, notice, make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides, right? And you'll literally see 9 times, well, I wouldn't say 9 times out of 10, probably about 7 times out of 10, you'll see them go, they'll have it in hands. I said, make sure you got it all. Sometimes that shit hides, and they'll go back in and they'll find more. Right? Because it's just one of those things. If you don't call attention to it, right? And sometimes that keeps it from coming back. Sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes the moment you just reverse the spin and slam it back in, it just reverse generalizes and blasts everything. But I'm redundant. I want to make sure that I'm going to get it all. Does that make sense?
So you reverse the spin to get rid of it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you keep the same spin to keep it?
To amplify it.
Amplify
If it's something you want more of, right? Okay? So, I always recommend that you bucket list this process. In other words, start with things that are of a relatively low intensity. If I'm doing it, you can, go for it, pull the 10s out, I'll zap them, I don't care. But when you're working with a partner, it's your first time doing it. And by the way, if you do the process and it drops but it's not completely gone, do it again. I've had people come up, I do this process, it drops from like a 10 to a 6, and they think they're done, they start to walk down. I say, hey, you ain't done yet. Take it back out, spin it again, slam it back in. And I've shrunk tumors with this. Okay? It has that kind of effect. It doesn't happen like that with everybody. It really a lot depends on how malleable your nervous system is, right? But I haven't found anything that I can't zap with this. Sometimes it's a problem though, because people have a belief that they need more effort. They have to work harder to be fixed. Right? If I'm doing chronic illness, many times chronic illness is not the problem. In other words, like if I have somebody who, like with tumors, I have somebody who's got a tumor. The tumor isn't the problem. The tumor is a symptom. Right? There's a reason the tumor is there, and there's a feeling connected to that reason. Point to where you feel it, and it's almost always in a different spot than the tumor. Because cancer is caused by repressed emotion most of the time, which is not the tumor itself. If you try to zap the tumor, you'll get some movement, but you won't get resolution. You zap the reason the tumor is there in the first place, the tumor has no support. It goes away, or starts to at least.
What about bone pain?
You got bone pain?
Yeah.
Come here. Is there something biomechanically behind it, or is it just something that came out of nowhere?
I was born with it. I have deformed spine, and it's all the time right here. It's like a hot poker. It
A hot
never
poker,
goes
huh?
away.
Well, let me ask you something. Is it okay to get rid of it?
Yes.
Is a doctor going to be pissed off if all of a sudden that disappears?
No, no.
Oh, 'cause sometimes-
There is no recourse except for surgery, and I'm not willing to do that.
Okay, cool. Okay, point to where you feel it. Okay, cool. Scale of 0 to 10, rate the feeling.
Right this very moment,
Mm-hmm.
about a 7.
Okay, close your eyes. Look at it with your inner eyes. I want you to notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color, first impression?
Red.
Reach in, grab all that red energy with both your hands, take it out and hold it in front of you. Make sure you get it off, because sometimes that shit hides. See, I told you. There you go. That's it. Keep digging it. Get it off.
Okay, but it's really
Right in, there you go. Good. Now, as you hold, is it all in your hands? First impression.
Yes.
Good. Did the color change or stay the same?
It got a little lighter
Excellent. Now, as you look at it, notice it's moving in a certain direction. What direction is it moving?
this way.
Physically grab it with both of your hands. Reorient it so it's the opposite of what it was. That's right. There it is.
Okay.
Good. Now double the spin. Physically move it. Double the spin with your hands. Double the force. Double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was when you know you got it. Slam it back in.
Oh, I got it.
Notice the change. Let the feelings come up. Let them come out. Notice they're gone. Let it come up. Let it come out. It's all right. That's right. Let it all come out. You got to let the emotional purging happen. She breaks out in a sweat. You'll see that a lot. It's clearing. Feel it leaving. That's it.
It's like leaving here.
Yeah. There you go. Up and out. Let it happen. I got you.
Oh, like too much.
That's all right. I got you. Feel it draining away. Had it a long time, so there's probably some stuff in there.
Yeah.
There you go. Notice it's gone. When you know it's gone, try to bring it back.
That's far away.
Mm. Bet that feels good, huh?
Yeah. I feel like I'm really down here now. Oh, that would be so wonderful. It's gone.
Let it come out. It's all right.
I feel like really,
Yeah, I know.
it's like I feel like vomiting almost. It's like
Your body's resetting itself. Okay? The new program is engaging. When you load a program into your computer, it doesn't instantly activate, right? You load it, it spreads out through the system, and then it slowly begins to this is what happens. There's a bit of a lag. There will be an abreaction many times. There will be a physiological shift as the body reorients and takes on this new state. Okay? Especially if it's something that's been there a while, because it usually has a lot of stuff connected to it. Right? But again, it's reverse generalizing.
ugh. I still sort of feel upset there, but yeah.
Compared to before?
Well, I don't feel my back whatsoever, but yeah, I feel like
So the back is
the back feels good. Thank you.
welcome. Give her a big round of applause. Let it process out. Okay? And when you're ready, try to bring it back.
Okay.
Like I said, what the body manifests, the body can fix. Go play. I've had people literally, like I'm working with somebody and they're watching and they have like a headache or something, and I do this with somebody, their headache goes away. Because they get so into it. Their mirror neurons are firing on so many different levels simultaneously.
Mine did.
Yours went away?
Now when you said it, I realized I do not have a headache. I came with one.
And you came with it? There you go. Right? Welcome to my world.
I feel this space, like, I don't know, it's really weird.
That's what normal feels like.
Probably, and I haven't been normal ever. But
All right. That's your task. Pick some stuff, zap it. It only gets better.
Well, absolutely.
I still look at it and I'm like, this shit shouldn't work. It's just not. But actually, it's in perfect alignment with what all the ancient texts on hermetics and things like that are saying, but they're not saying it directly. There's always more strength in synergies of the systems than there is in isolation. But we live in a society that consistently teaches us to isolate out and find the variable. But that's not the way our systems work. Our systems work based on synergy. The more the systems we have working in focus on a specific task, the more power we have. Right? So start with small things. If you want those pleasure triggers that we installed and we played with, notice where in your body you feel it. Take it out, spin it, double the spin, double the force, slam it back in. Notice what happens. And keep doubling it. Right? You can take everything we learned using the 4 magic bullets and amplify it through the spinning process now. Questions on it? You guys look terrified. Dude, this is 10 times easier than the 4 magic bullets. I almost stopped using the 4 magic bullets when I started doing this. Yeah.
So let's say you were trying to do something more of that was intangible, like joy, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Would I picture something that looks like joy?
Come here.
And then,
Come here.
all right. I just don't know what to picture.
You don't have to picture anything. It's not about the picture.
All right.
Joy.
Joy.
You remember feeling intense joy? I know you can. Notice where in your body the feeling starts.
I get confused between joy and gratitude.
Which one do you want more of?
Well, I do well with gratitude, so I want to do joy.
Okay, where does joy start in your body?
I suspect this joy is right here.
Okay, so where's gratitude then?
Gratitude's kind of like,
Okay, so I want you to look at the joy. I want you to notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color, first impression?
bright, like a light orange.
Bright light orange. Good. Reach in, grab all that bright light orange with your hands. Take it out, hold it in your hands. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes it hides. There you go. You got a lot of joy. That's good. When you know you got it all, hold it in your hands. You got it all? Good. Did the color change? Oh, see? A little bit hides. That's all right. That's all right. You got more than enough. As you look at it, notice, did the color change or stay the same?
Stays the same.
Good. Notice it's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? First impression. Good. Since it's something you want more of, physically grab it with both of your hands. Double the spin. Double the force. Double the speed. Double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again. Stronger and stronger and stronger until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you got it, slam it back in. Notice the change. It's spread all throughout your mind, all throughout your body, washing every cell with those feelings. Double the spin again. Notice it rush through you again. That's right. Feel it. Everything you want, the way you want it. Notice the change. Notice the increase. Notice the joy flooding your body.
Yeah, right on.
Right. A big round of applause.
There, boy.
Big round of applause.
Oh.
He's like, fuck, I'm going home now.
That's an exciting way to do it. For me, I really like that way.
I like it too,
Yeah.
because I'm lazy. I could charge $1,000 a change and do work for 2 minutes. All right? Again, this is the basic. Are there subtleties that we can play with? Yeah, we can. There's all kinds of different ways that we can work with this process, right? But start with this. Okay? Because once you own this, you can pretty much change whatever you want. Now, keep in mind, if you're dealing with something that is painful, emotionally or physically, there will probably be an emotional shedding, aka an abreaction that takes place. When that happens, like when I had Mike up here, right? I didn't just disengage, right? I stayed with him. I was connected to him. I was adding my proprioception and my intention with him through the entire process. When I had you up here and you were going through your whole abreaction, I held that space for you. I stayed there with you because my energy is adding change to the system. It's adding force to the process going on. You notice when I have you guys up here, even those of you who are doing the process, how many times was I actually acting out what the other person was doing? I was doing it right along with them, right? Yeah. So I'm adding my emotional energy, my synchronization of my nervous system to theirs. I'm firing their mirror neurons through my actions, right? So I'm adding force and amplitude and reinforcing the messages that I'm telling them to do. So I'm engaged with them through the entire process. So your ability to get good at this is going to be based on your ability to entrain with their nervous system, right? And go as deeply into the process with them as possible.
I feel like if I'm standing next to you is a big difference than if I'm sitting and somebody's up there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? And I've also found that you can do this sitting, but when you're actually standing, it really kicks it in. Right? Now, don't assume that you're wide awake when you do. Well, you are wide awake, but you're in a profound state of somnambulism. It's just neurologically induced instead of it's induced through a different set of processes. It's induced through absorption rather than relax the eyes, relax the body. It's the same state, but you actually feel more alert when you go through the process because your brain is lighting up like a Christmas tree. When we're doing 4 magic bullets, parts of your brain are turning off, other parts are turning on. In this particular process, we're turning on everything.
And I'm still turned on.
I know.
This whole head is just like...
Yeah, your system's recalibrating. Okay, your internal environment's changing. Anything that's not in harmony with that change is going to come out. Right? There's no top level to it either. You can just keep adding to it and but the ability to use the spinning technique is really contingent upon your ability to become self-aware. You can't change something you don't know is there. Does that make sense? Yeah. So as we become more self-aware, we become more aware of subtle feelings in our body, where they're located. We gain the ability to target it and change it. We have to allow ourselves to completely go through the process. Mike's abreaction was very short. Yours was much longer, right? However long that process takes place, you have to let them know that, hey, this is supposed to happen. Let those feelings come up and out. Because our initial response is the moment we feel those intense feelings is to try and stuff them back down or to run away from them. That's not how it works. You don't get rid of a boil by just letting it sit. You lance it, let the pus run out. Sorry, I hate to use that kind of a metaphor, but it's really kind of true, right? For that moment of discomfort, you have a lifetime of freedom. Right? That's the difference between pain and suffering. Both are choices. Pain is what you get, is that momentary discomfort you go through when you choose to become something different. You have that moment and it's gone. Suffering is what you get when you choose to run away from the pain and it follows you everywhere you go. It's a choice. Right? Okay. Questions on this before I set you loose to play? Go. Have fun with it.